This is episode 4 of Entrepreneurs for a Change. If you like this podcast, please sign up for our mailing list at entrepreneursforachange.com. Are you ready to be the change? If so, you've come to the right place. You're about to join a movement of entrepreneurs who are empowering people, saving the planet, and turning their passion into profits while creating the lifestyle of your dreams. If you don't believe us, check out our website at entrepreneursforachange.com, a place where you can be inspired, mentored, and supported by a tribe of change-making entrepreneurs just like you. Hi there, changemakers. This is Lorna Lee, your host for another episode of the Entrepreneurs for a Change podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be talking with Doug Bancorn, co-founder of Green Earth Bamboo. Green Earth Bamboo is a family-owned e-commerce business that specializes in bamboo viscose products, such as bamboo bedding, towels, bathrobes, clothing, and accessories. They work with the most eco-friendly suppliers in their niche, and they are a Green America certified green business. What's great about Green Earth Bamboo, from the lifestyle business standpoint, is that they are a dropshipping business. That means that they do not warehouse or ship any of the products that they sell online. Doug is going to share with us the nitty-gritty of what went into setting up their dropshipping business and growing it to the 10-hour-a-week, 6-figure business that it is now. Offers valuable advice for aspiring entrepreneurs wanting to set up a green online business, such as how to research and identify a product to dropship and what goes into selecting a dropshipping supplier, how much it costs to set up their e-commerce business and what they would have done differently, what marketing channels provide the greatest return on investment and why he believes that SEO is the way to go, the content strategies he uses to drive search engine traffic and rankings, how much work it really took to get to a 10-hour-a-week business pulling in $250,000 in sales by year 2. Before we dive into this interview, I want to share with you the beautiful day I had at the very chic Veranda Hotel in Chiang Mai, shooting video with my friend Till Carlos, the host of the Leadership Pathways podcast. The link to his show is included in our show notes, which you can find at entrepreneursforachange.com/4. Till is also a member of the Dynamite Circle, an invitation-only private social network of location-independent internet entrepreneurs. Till and I have been accountability partners for each other in our entrepreneurial journey here in Chiang Mai. And while he's off to Saigon to hang out with the Vietnam pod of Dynamite Circle folks, I hope that he and I will continue this really valuable collaboration over Skype, wherever he and I might be in the world. If you're a solopreneur, I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a community of entrepreneurs around you to inspire you, share knowledge, and hold you accountable. For me, being part of this community in Chiang Mai has been priceless. If your business is location independent, it can be really tempting to hightail it to an exotic beach somewhere or some other really chillaxin place. But it can be hard to get things done if the people around you really don't get what you're doing because they have jobs, or you're in a hippie commune and everyone's really back to the earth and anti-technology. I know this because I enjoy spending time in beautiful places with a strong hippie demographic. For example, I spent several months in a beautiful town in Brazil called Alto Paraíso. I consider Alto to be my second home. It's a place of breathtaking beauty, with over 400 waterfalls and a concentration of highly spiritual, eco-conscious, New Age hippies from all over Brazil and the world working on really cool permaculture projects. I really enjoyed it and I got a lot done because there really isn't much going on there. It's a great place to spend time with yourself, to be creative, introspective, do yoga, write, practice music. But the entrepreneurial support system simply wasn't there locally. Now, being an entrepreneur, especially a solopreneur, can be a rather lonely endeavor, even if you're living in a center of innovation and entrepreneurship like San Francisco. Even though I'd run out to meetups and made it out to the Hub, a social enterprise co-working space in the Mission, a few days a week, I still spent the bulk of my time working alone. But not all of us have the luxury of choosing where to live. So if you stick around until the end of the show, I'll share with you a powerful mindset hack that will both help you break through to the next level of your business and resolve entrepreneurial isolation, especially if you don't live around any entrepreneurs. And I'll share with you a great free tool that you can use along with this tip so that you can easily connect with like-minded entrepreneurs and be alone no more. Now on to the interview. So Doug, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on this interview. I am really impressed at how beautiful your website looks, and I'd love to ask you how this whole business venture got started.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. It got started with me relocating back to my hometown of Chicago, and my sister had been pushing me to go into business with her, and so it was a foregone conclusion that we were going to start a website, an e-commerce site. And so we honestly at that point did not know what we were going to be selling. And so we started doing some research and just kind of random research, looking at products out there. And, we had some loose criteria in mind. We wanted something that was somewhat unique and wasn't, a saturated market. And I think it only took us roughly a week or two of research before we stumbled upon the bamboo textiles, which neither one of us had ever heard of. Didn't know that there was such a thing as clothing made from bamboo. And so we, of course, then began to really research it, and then we followed that up with getting some samples from a supplier, and we were quite impressed with the product itself, irrespective of, any green qualities or that type of thing. It's just really, it's a great product. And, even for people that aren't interested in the green aspects of things, it's still a great product as compared to like cotton when you're talking about bedding. And so we knew at that point that, that was what we were going to do. And we kind of decided up front that, we wanted to just keep the site strictly to bamboo textiles, and we didn't want to start introducing other products. And so we've done that for the last 2.5 years, and I think we probably have about 100 SKUs or so, and that's how it came about. So
what does bamboo fabric feel like? Is it kind of like silk, or is it more like cotton or linen?
Well, it's technically, it's a rayon, and that's what the government will tell you, because there was a lot of controversy over the way bamboo textiles was being marketed. I'd say it probably started about 2 years ago, not too long after we got into it. We found out that it really had not been set in stone as far as what you could or couldn't say about the product. And so everybody in the industry, of course, there was hundreds of sites that were selling it, and, a lot of affiliate sites, and some were drop ship, and there's not too many suppliers, direct suppliers that manufacture it or are bringing it in directly from a factory. And in any case, we were all marketing it as, this organic material, bamboo, T-shirts or sheets from bamboo. And the government came in and said, no, you have to refer to it as viscose from bamboo, and viscose is kind of synonymous with rayon. And that's based, that designation is based on the manufacturing process. So the manufacturing process, which, has gotten a lot of bad press, particularly because we were all marketing it, with some green character traits. And, the manufacturing process is not the most friendly in the world. It's, I can't sit here and tell you that it is. But there's a lot of positives too, as far as, the natural material. It's one of the most abundant materials that we have, and it's self-regenerating. They cut the bamboo a couple feet above the ground, and it just grows back by itself. It doesn't need water, other than the water that it gets from its natural environment. And, it doesn't need chemicals and pesticides and things like that. And so it does have, a lot of good sustainable aspects to it. But the processing of it is not the most friendly in the world.
Yeah, so when I think about rayon, I think about something that's made out of plastic or petroleum-based products. And this bamboo fabric is actually made from bamboo pulp. Is that how it comes to be?
Yes, it's directly, it comes directly from, just actual bamboo, which is technically, they refer to it as a woody plant or a grass, depending on, what you're looking at. If you go to Wikipedia or something, it's considered like a woody plant or a grass. And but as I said, it's one of the most abundant resources that we have. And yes, it's as far as the fabric itself, it's incredibly soft. Anybody that I have, that we've given a product to, on a personal level, people that we know that we can, talk to them firsthand, and we give them a set of sheets for Christmas or a set of bath towels or something like that. Everybody is thoroughly impressed. Again, irrespective of any green traits, just the product, on its own merit. Most people that I know that I've talked to, and also myself, I can tell you that the bamboo sheets, that's all we use in our family and our friends. And the bamboo sheets are more comfortable. They're softer and they breathe and they're just more comfortable than if you were to go out and spend, $500 on some 1,300 thread count Egyptian cotton sheets. They're very soft.
And so in addition to the wonderfully renewable qualities of bamboo, are there other sustainability criteria in the products that you carry?
As far as, like in-house criteria that we have, or?
Yeah, in-house criteria, or maybe, do you go as far as like making sure that it's you're using like all natural dyes, for example?
Our supplier does use all natural dyes. Honestly, we don't have any in-house criteria with regard to the product because, quite frankly, we don't really have any control other than to say, we have control who we buy it from. However, the reality is that there's only two methods to process bamboo, and one is the main process that any bamboo textile product that you buy in the United States is made from the same process. There is a mechanical process that it nets you a totally different product, and it's not an appealing product because it doesn't have the soft character traits that the other bamboo does, the main bamboo, the way it's processed, and so we can't control how the supplier does things, but our supplier is very green conscious, and they do a lot of things in-house, and they've got their delivery trucks that run on natural gas, and so they do various things themselves, and so they are green conscious, and they do travel over to their factory that they have a relationship with. They don't use a big factory; it's a smaller factory that they have a personal relationship with over there, and so I know that they do whatever they can to try to make strides as far as making sure that the process is as eco-friendly as it can be, and that's pretty much where we're at with that.
So before you guys got into selling your bamboo products on the internet, had you actually been involved with any type of e-commerce or internet marketing type of work before, or was this like your trial by fire learning experience on running an e-commerce store?
It was pretty much trial by fire. Yeah, I had actually briefly started a small website like back in the mid '90s, just very small, and I did it because I was running a wholesale company in Las Vegas, and so I had access to these products basically at wholesale cost, and so, but it was short-lived, and and of course internet marketing and e-commerce is ever evolving, and so there was really nothing that I had done or learned back in the mid-'90s that was applicable today. And so, I had to go and start learning, and just like a madman, I spent 80 to 100 hours a week just researching and studying mostly how to market a website, search engine optimization, that type of thing. My sister has her own graphics design business, which she's had for about 15 years. And she had been doing a lot of small jobs for local companies and stuff with their websites. And so, she knew a little bit of code and, of course, the design elements and that, she was more than capable of doing that type of work. But as far as marketing an e-commerce site, yes, that I had to start from scratch.
Well, what I love about the whole evolution of the web these days is that the technology platforms have evolved to the point where the barriers to entry have significantly lowered for people. Like before, back in the day in the 1990s, like you had to know how to code, and it was, you'd build these sites, by hand coding all the HTML, and, now you can use content management systems, and, it's all become so much more user-friendly on the back end. So I think it's just, really the whole world of internet business has really revolutionized with the whole advent of, Web 2.0 and content management systems. So, nowadays, like an entrepreneur can get into an internet-based business for significantly less than it would cost to actually start a traditional business.
I couldn't agree more with you. Nowadays, you can go, you have access to something like WordPress, which is free. And, I've seen people create stores, on WordPress sites. And then, of course, there's thousands of plugins that work with WordPress that will handle all these various different types of tasks for you. And those plugins are free. And so, I couldn't agree with you more. And, of course, I don't know a bit of code, but I'm able, I can do my job in an efficient, competent manner as far as marketing without having to be well-versed in code. I'm familiar with best practices when it comes to things involving code, but as far as actually doing the code, no, my sister does that, or we'll pay somebody to do it if it's something, more sophisticated. But I totally agree with you. Yeah,
I mean, gone are the days where you actually had to get a programmer to get involved anytime you needed to change the text or an image on the page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love WordPress, and we have our blog is set up on our site, and it utilizes WordPress, but our shopping cart system, it's what they call a turnkey system, and it's Volusion is the company that we use.
Volusion. How do you spell that?
Yeah, Volusion.
What caused you to choose this particular platform over others? Did you go through an evaluation process?
Oh yeah. I'm real anal when it comes to researching. I don't leave the house without Googling, how to tie my shoes before I leave. And so we did a lot of research. Of course, that was at the beginning, and so you don't know what you don't know. And so I didn't know anything about shopping cart systems, and as I said, I didn't know any code, and so I had to kind of just start from scratch and try to go out there and look at all the different platforms and just look at what people were saying in the forums and that type of thing, and evaluate what features the different platforms had, and then we just had to make a decision, and we chose Volusion. And I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it to somebody. It really depends on what your product is, but it's a pretty robust shopping cart system. It does have a lot of features. A lot of stuff is it's already built into it as far as, being able to automate things, inventory management and all that type of stuff. It's already all built in there. But one of the drawbacks is you can only modify your site so much. I mean, there are certain restrictions because they don't give you don't have 100% access to all the code. And so we have had some headaches with it, but for the most part, we're happy with it.
Is it search engine friendly?
It is search engine friendly, yeah, because that was a big concern of mine up front, even though, again, I didn't have a lot of SEO knowledge at the time, but I did know enough to know that, hey, SEO is something that is at the top of my list when considering one of these shopping cart systems. And so I did research that aspect of Volusion. And yes, I would say that it does give you the controls that you need in order to be SEO friendly. You can override it if you want it to automatically take from your descriptions of your products, and you want it to automatically assign URLs or title tags, and it'll do all that stuff. But of course, we don't utilize that feature, prefer to do that by hand. And so, every title tag, meta description, even the URLs for the product pages, we do that stuff manually for SEO purposes.
If you don't mind me asking, what were your startup costs like? So you had your e-commerce platform. I'm sure that was a chunk of change. What other things did you guys invest in to get your business off the ground, and how much did it cost you?
It was mostly just a ton of time and research. So, we had our own labor. I guess, we could say that, hey, we're not going to associate a direct cost to our time. So with respect to just like hard costs, we had to put out some monies to have some coding done for the site. And
to customize Volusion.
Yeah. I mean, my sister handles all the design elements of the site nowadays, and she always has, but there were certain things that we had to customize. And so we probably spent a couple grand or so roughly in coding, and then, just getting started with Volusion. And all in all, it probably was less than $5,000.
That is a fantastic startup cost for a business.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if you actually had a store, like how much that would cost you? You'd have to like rent the space and, a warehouse and, all of that. Yeah, definitely.
That's one of the great things about the internet.
Absolutely. So when you were looking for developers to customize Volusion, it's something that the actual company or platform provider didn't actually, offer you guys. You have to go to the, external developer marketplace and find someone to customize that platform.
Volusion will do it. They do offer it. They will do it. But in my opinion, it's cost prohibitive because, I can get it done cheaper.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But they do offer it. And honestly, Volusion's they're one of the biggest so-called turnkey shopping cart systems out there. They're a good-sized company. But when it comes to like their customer service and their knowledge of the customer service people, or the knowledge that the customer service people have, we've found that it's oftentimes lacking. We've had a lot of instances where we wanted to be able to do something. There was something that we wanted to change or adjust, or we couldn't figure out how to do it in their system. And my sister invariably would end up calling them, sitting on hold for a while, talk to somebody, and they would tell her, no, it can't be done. Then we would consult with one of our coders that we know that is real competent, and have him go in and look. And even though he can't see 100% of the code that makes up the system, he would tell us, oh no, it can be done. And so we would actually have the coder do it for us, and it was something that Volusion had said, no, you can't do that. So we've had, that's been a little bit sketchy with regard to their customer service, but.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest challenges that I find as a website owner is finding developers that I, first of all, number one, trust that they're not going to inject some sketchy code into my website that will spam the hell out of the internet and all living things within it.
Or hidden backlinks on all your pages.
Oh God,
to one of their sites.
Exactly right. And then two, understanding whether or not they're competent enough to write good code, and they're not, in terms of addressing one of the customizations or features that I want, doing it in such a poorly coded way that it does something like slows up my site significantly or breaks something else. Do you have any best practices on how to find a good developer? Because I know a lot of our, internet business, e-commerce folks, struggle with that.
Well, honestly, the couple of people that we mainly use, and it's really just very sporadically because, my sister, like I said, she can handle the basic stuff, but sometimes we run into something more complicated. But because she's had her graphics design business locally here for 15 years, she knew a couple people or knew somebody that knew somebody. And so for the most part, the couple guys that we have used for coding on our site have been through personal relationships. However, I would still recommend that people go to the sites out there, the outsourcing sites, like an Elance, or admittedly, I have done very little with these sites but I know that there's a lot of competent coders that are on these sites. They're around the world. You can get people that are competent other parts of the world that will work for a lot less. And the benefits of going into one of these sites that are strictly for outsourcing for people that do the coding and people that are looking for coding is you can look at the reviews of the people that are you think are good candidates for the task at hand, and you can see what people are saying about them, people that have had them do jobs for them. And so to me that's a great resource. It's just like if I go to buy a new Bluetooth headset, I'm going to be on Amazon looking at the reviews and seeing what people are saying about the products, and that's always worked out pretty well for me. And so I would say the same thing would apply with outsourcing. Look at the reviews, look at what other people are saying about your potential candidates.
Yeah, there are some pitfalls, too, that I would like to point people out to, is that there's a bit of a trick that some of these companies use where they have a number of employees that work for a particular company on Odesk, and they'll have the more senior developers rack up some really good reviews, and so that you might think you're hiring someone that is a 5-star Odesk candidate, for example, and all of a sudden they'll actually turn around and put a junior person on you and say, actually, can you hire this person? And I'm like, hey, this person has no history whatsoever. They're like, oh, but don't worry, I'll be managing that person. And so I think it's good, if you're going to hire someone, just to kind of do some due diligence, make sure you're hiring an individual. Do not fall for the bait and switch thing. And also, the same thing that applies when you have a number of contractors working for a particular company that they're representing via Odesk. Sometimes they'll give you a portfolio of their previous work that's actually the company's portfolio, but they've never actually worked on the sites themselves. So, I'll actually get numerous bids from different developers working for the same company, and they're showing me the same portfolio of sites. I'm like, wait a second. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So there's an art to outsourcing too, and I could go on and on about that.
There's courses you can, you can buy courses just on outsourcing.
It's true.
And frankly, I would probably, recommend that for somebody that's starting up, and if they've got the resources, if they've got the bankroll, it would be worth educating themselves and paying a few $100s or what have you, to get a decent course on outsourcing and, putting a little time in up front to learn the ins and outs and look for those pitfalls like you just mentioned and that type of thing. Yeah,
totally. So how long did it take for you guys to become profitable?
Well, again, I don't have can't give you a,
roughly.
Day 13 of month 6, but no, I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 6 to 9 months, something like that.
Wow, that's really not bad at all.
Yeah, it was, it's a niche market. It's not a big market, obviously, because probably the vast majority of the population has never even heard of bamboo textiles or didn't know that there was such a thing as clothing or bedding or towels made from bamboo. And so it really, it's a niche market, but there was still hundreds of sites out there, and there still is hundreds of sites, be it drop ship models, wholesale models, or affiliate models. But there's hundreds of them that sell the bamboo products. And so, we had to overcome some sites that had been in the business for 4 or 5 years when we got started with 0 backlinks and nothing. And so we had to start from scratch. And
well, I used to own the domain sustainablebamboo.com, but couldn't figure out what on earth to do with it, so I let that one go. It's
a lot of work to market a site. It really is.
It can be. So how much do you guys work on your business a week? Because it sounded like you had mentioned that you used to work day and night on this thing. Is that the case right now, or was there a period of time where you worked all the time and now it's just tapered off because you've done all the groundwork?
Yeah, in the beginning we worked all the time, and now it's tapered off greatly. I'm an information junkie by nature, and so delve into something new. I'm just, it's all I think about, and I'll just spend, hours on end researching. And so, of course, with starting a new business, that's something that you're going to want to do anyway. But yeah, in the beginning, probably the first 6 months, I was spending 80 to 100 hours a week just studying internet marketing and SEO. And, I started studying it day and night, pretty much every waking moment, well before the site actually got up, because of course, that was a process to actually get the site up and running. And so my sister, she has a graphics design business, as I had said, and so that varies. Some weeks she's got 30, 40, 50 hours a week with that, and other weeks are slower, depends on the time of year. But she worked a lot on the site as well. And then, slowly but surely, over time, we started to get things down, get things automated, get systems in place. We have staff, but mostly just we have a full-time girl that handles the administrative stuff, the customer service, some miscellaneous things. And then we have, some outsourcing, be it, out of the country or be it, through a couple local friends that are coders, as I had mentioned. And so today, approximately 3 years later, maybe a little less, today I would say, my sister, she might spend roughly 10 or 15 hours a week, and I spend probably, less than 15 hours a week myself nowadays on the site.
And does this business sustain the both of you guys, or do you guys have other sources of income from other projects or companies as well?
Yeah, no, the business definitely would not support both of us, or one of us for that matter. But it is profitable, and it is an asset. And if we wanted to sell it tomorrow, it does have decent value to it. I would hesitate to throw out a number, but it does have value to it. So like I said, she has a graphics design business that she's had for years, and I also do some consulting for some local businesses that are starting up websites from scratch, or they're a brick and mortar maybe that has a website, but they have no idea how to do SEO or how to go about marketing their website. And so I've done some consulting for just a handful of small local businesses.
So you mentioned that research was a huge part of getting started for you. Let's see. So I have a couple of research questions. So let me dive into the internet marketing research question, which is, given that there's so much information on the web, and I've been through this process before as well, so I know that there's just so many systems and methodologies, and there's a lot of information out there that's wrong. Absolutely. So, how did you go about educating yourself in internet marketing, and did you find it useful to invest in courses or products that would actually help you just eliminate all the junk and just stay laser focused on information that you knew worked and wasn't going to get you penalized by Google?
Oh boy, this is going to be a long answer. So yeah, initially it was just doing what probably anybody would do, just searching, how to SEO, search engine optimization. And so then invariably I would start finding these sites, forums, SEO blogs, and frequenting them. And, I used to spend a lot of time in, a couple SEO forums like the Warrior Forum and that type of thing.
I love the Warrior Forum. It's great. Yeah, okay. Every time I have some kind of obscure internet marketing question, or even a very, good one that a lot of people have questions about, always, it's the Warrior Forum thread that comes up in my search results.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time there in the beginning, and maybe the first year, on and off. And at some point, I realized that, hey, a lot of the information that's in here, a lot of these people, they pass off information as fact. They represent themselves as real knowledgeable and competent with SEO, and then invariably I would find out that information that I was reading was incorrect. And so there's definitely some good information to be had there, but the problem is when you're starting out, you don't know what you don't know, and so you don't know if you're reading information that is correct, if it's really a best practice, or if this person is just stating their opinion as fact because they did a little bit of testing on their website, and they think that they got an answer to what it was they were testing. And there's just so many variables when it comes to ranking pages in Google that it's hard to test things. And so I realized that hey, I'm better off just spending some money and learning from some people that have been doing this for 10 or 15 years, and that are well respected by other SEO people in the business. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I still, I would say most of what I've learned has been on my own, but I don't really go to the forums anymore. And there's might be a couple of blogs or websites that are dedicated to SEO that I will, from time to time, I'll go and look at various blog posts that they've done and that, because I know that it's credible information. And so I did learn a lot from I took a couple of courses with Dan Thies, who's been doing SEO forever, and he's well respected. And so
he has a really good link building course, I hear.
Link Liberation.
Yeah,
I was in the original Link Liberation that first came out in 2010, I think it was. And so I signed up for that as one of his first students. And I forget, I think it was like $1,500 or something for like an 8-week course. But I did learn a lot of stuff, and really it helped to shape my mindset about SEO. And that's, to me, in my mind, that's the biggest issue, is that 90% of the so-called internet marketers out there, they don't even have the right mindset about SEO. Their mindset is one of just trying product after product, or system after system, or backlink system or backlink package after backlink, and they're just trying all these different things. And you're going to get some positive results from some things, but to really be successful with marketing your website for the long haul, and keeping it up there ranked for the keywords that you want to be ranked for in Google, it all comes down to content. And you have to resign yourself to, hey, I have to produce quality content that people will want to link to, content that people will organically link to. And that content can be text, it can be a blog post, it can be a video that you put on YouTube, it can be entertainment, it can be informational, whatever it is. It just needs to be of a pretty high caliber. And if you just keep doing that and, just wash and repeat, that is going to get you a lot further in the long run than just doling out money for, paid, to buy backlinks, or, to do these various backlinking schemes. And, there's just so much crap out there. There's so many products, be it informational or people selling you, a service where they go out and get you backlinks. There's just all kinds of products out there, and most of it's crap. Most of it is not going to, it's really not going to benefit you in the long haul. And so to me, you're just throwing money away.
Yeah, and some of it's actually going to even get your site penalized. So, you'll spend money and then your site gets de-indexed. That would totally suck.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing. That's the tough part about, that's one of the main negatives of, there's so many great things about, having a business online. Like you had mentioned, the low startup costs, and there's just so many great things about it. Being able to research, the supply, and being able to actually see, hey, how many people a month are searching for, this product that I want to sell, and that type of thing. And, you can't do that, with a brick and mortar. It would cost you a fortune to have some demographic study done and try to figure out how many people are shopping for furniture in your local town. Should I open up this furniture store? That kind of thing. So the internet affords us all these great things. But one of the big negatives is you kind of have all your eggs in one basket. There are ways to avoid this, but if Google de-indexes your site and you've spent 3 years, throwing a lot of money and resources into this site, and you're getting solid traffic, and you've got solid revenue coming from the site, and Google de-indexes it, you're done. I mean, that's it. You just went from, whatever you were making down to nothing. So.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, that happened to BMW. I can't even imagine how much money they lost when that happened.
Yeah, and there's, there was that, was it JCPenney or?
I forget, God, yeah, that was, painful.
With the links, because they were their SEO company. I don't remember if it was in-house or they hired a third-party company, but whoever was doing their SEO, I guess they were utilizing some sketchy backlinking processes, and so Google slapped them. And I mean, they didn't de-index them, but they dramatically reduced their rankings for thousands or tens of thousands of keywords, and so you got to be careful, and you want to do the white hat thing, so to speak.
So, what marketing strategies do you find to be the most effective for your business?
Well, I'm a big believer in social media and the future of social media, but I have to admit that we're not doing it right at present. We do have a presence, of course, on Facebook and Twitter, and we do push stuff out to our Facebook and our Twitter and that on a regular basis. But we don't have. We haven't really allocated resources to where, hey, we've got our employee that spends 2 hours a day or what have you in the social media arena, engaging people one-on-one. And to me, that's the future, and that's what people should be doing today. So I'm a big believer in putting resources towards social media. And again, it depends on the nature of your business too. Certain businesses lend themselves more towards that, whereas others, it may not have the same positive impact. So it all depends what your business is. If you're a service-oriented business, then absolutely, you should be allocating some resources to engaging people in the social media arenas, and I think that's only going to become more important as time goes on. So now that I've explained that I think social media is important, but I'm not doing it right, so please don't go and for those that are listening, don't go and look at our Facebook or our Twitter and try to emulate what we're doing, because just doing a couple posts to your Twitter every day is not the proper thing to do. You want to be active and engage people. That's what you really should be doing.
Okay, so
say something.
So you guys sell stuff. So let's say you did have like the resources and the manpower to actually have a robust social media department in your company. What would that look like on a day-to-day basis? Like, what could you imagine doing? What kind of campaigns would you launch?
So what we would do is, for example, I'll use Twitter. All right. What I would do is I would have my employee, we'll say, that I would train to do certain tasks every day. As an example, I would say, all right, you're going to do, and of course there's tools for there's tools for everything, and I have tons of software that I use for all kinds of different things. And so,
can you share with us some of your software picks?
I can, but let me finish the Twitter thing.
Okay.
Because this is something that I'm not doing, but it's something that I think a small business should be doing. So, as an example, I have my employee, and she spends X amount of hours a day in the social media arena, and so one of the things that I would have her do is go to Twitter every day, and I want you to run these searches. I'm going to come up with a list of, say, a dozen different searches that I deem pertinent to the products that I'm selling. So,
for example,
bamboo clothing, bamboo bedding, bamboo sheets, green clothing, or sustainable clothing, or environmentally friendly clothing. And so I'm going to come up with probably dozens of queries, of keywords. And this will be a daily task for her to run these through Twitter and see if there's any real conversations going on with, where somebody has asked a question using that keyword. Hey, my friend just bought some bamboo bedding. Of course, we're limited on the characters there, but if somebody's implying that they're interested in bamboo bedding, but hey, are you familiar with it? Something like that. Then I would want her to jump in on the conversation. And of course, this is where you have to be very tactful. And you can't just jump in and be all salesy and say, hey, we have bamboo bedding. Go here. You want to help that person and give them some information. And you're not trying to sell them per se, but you're just trying to be helpful. And so and genuine. And so that would be one of the things. Just in broad strokes, it's find people that are already discussing products that you sell, or something similar to what you sell, that you feel that person might be a target customer. And then if they are seeking some sort of advice, or there's something that you can offer them in the way of information, then go in and do that. And so that would be the type of thing that I would recommend that a small business should be doing, is just being genuine, and not trying to sell people, and just engaging them and being helpful, providing them information. That's kind of in broad strokes what I would say.
Does social media actually drive business for you?
Yeah, it does. It does a little bit. Not anything significant. I mean,
how do you track this? Do you use specific URLs to track some of the business that comes through social media, or do you just check in Google Analytics and know that a percentage of your social media traffic is actually converting to sales?
Well, the thing is, because as I said, since I'm not doing the social media the way I should be, I'll use Twitter again as an example, because I'm not out there engaging the people in that. And if I was, yes, you can track it through Twitter. Actually, you can use like the URL shorteners, but then I think now, I want to say Twitter just made a change recently, and maybe you know the answer, I'm not sure. But I think Twitter made a change recently where I noticed that in my analytics, and honestly, I use Get Clicky just for my daily, just kind of, getting a general feel for what's going on with my site and where the traffic's coming from, and the keywords that people are coming in from. I just use Get Clicky. I mean, of course, we have Google Analytics set up, and we use Google Analytics for some certain things. But Get Clicky is very simple, but it's got a lot of features, and it gives me a nice snapshot of where my visitors are coming from, and what keywords they're coming in from the search engines, what URLs they're coming from, and that type of thing. But anyway, sorry, I got off track. My point was, I think Twitter changed something where any link that is clicked on, within their site, it's going to show up in your analytics as, I forget what it was. I'm sorry. I can't remember what it was now. I should go into my analytics, but the bottom line is, yeah, it's very simple to look at your referral logs and see, and that's something that I recommend that any small business, once they start getting some kind of significant traffic, I glance at my referral logs every day. I don't spend more than a minute looking at them, but I want to see where people are coming in from, because I might see some site that I recognize as a big site like Huffington Post, and I see, oh wow, I got some traffic from Huffington Post. I got to go check that out. Oh, cool. I've got a backlink from Huffington Post, or maybe it's a smaller blog and not the biggest blog in the world, and it might be somebody who wrote an article and they linked to you, and now you have an opportunity to perhaps develop a relationship with them where they can provide you with some more links in the future, or that type of thing. And so it's just a good practice. But yeah, there is ways by looking at your referral logs and or using URL shorteners for tracking, to be able to track things and that type of stuff. But we don't do a lot of that because, like I said, we don't get a lot of traffic from the social media. But we get some Facebook, some Twitter, some StumbleUpon, and these types of things.
So link building as a small business.
Mm-hmm.
Link building can be so time consuming, and there's so many different kinds of links. Some of them are just not even worth it. So what kind of link building do you do, and what do you think is worth actually getting?
Yeah, so this has evolved for me greatly. In the beginning, it was just actually thinking about going out and getting each link on an individual basis. And, I haven't thought in that manner, in quite a while. Nowadays, it's more about if you produce the content on a regular basis, then you're going to get links organically. And so,
really, I mean, come on. The web is just vast. You can create the most scintillating content out there, and if no one finds it, no one's going to link to it.
I certainly wouldn't. Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't suggest that as your only method for procuring links. I think the contrived link has its place in your toolbox. But I think that your main focus and your main resources should be on creating the quality content. We have content. We have blog posts that were written, a year and a half or 2 years ago that still get a link here and there today. So your content essentially becomes an asset for you, and over time, it can snowball a little bit, and it certainly helps once you actually start getting some significant traffic, which of course is hard to do until you start getting some links because you need the links to rank. And so it's kind of a catch-22. And so I certainly would never tell anyone, not to do any of the manual link building, so to speak, or to pay for any of the link building services. But I think that should be, a smaller part of your overall plan.
Okay, so directories. Is it worth it, yes or no?
No, I wouldn't bother with I'm going to pay a service $100 to go get me links at 2,000 directories. I wouldn't buy software that's going to auto-submit to 5,000 directories. I would, we went out, we paid the money for the Yahoo directory, which I probably wouldn't advise somebody to do today. I don't even know if they're still doing it, but it was like a couple $100, I think.
Yeah, it's like a couple $100 a year. Okay. And there's also Best of the Web and Business.com and some of the other established directories that cost about the same.
Yes, I did Best of the Web, and then I stopped doing that. But in the beginning, yes.
Yeah, maybe in the beginning, you need a kind of high page rank authority site linking to you.
Yeah, you can't just produce great quality content and think that everything is going to work out all hunky-dory. You do have to do some, especially in the beginning, you do have to do the manual type stuff. And I don't suggest that the business owner themselves do it. I suggest they outsource it. But so there was Yahoo, and just real quick, a little factoid for anybody out there that happens to listen to this, if they have already paid for the Yahoo directory listing, Yahoo has the way their system is set up. If you stop paying for it annually, you will stay in the directory, even though they certainly don't tell you this. You're supposed to have to pay the renewal fee every year, but we stopped paying it 2 years ago. We're still in the directory. So and I learned that from somebody else. So it's not like it was unique to me. It seems to be the general theme with regard to Yahoo's directory. But
okay, what about guest blogging?
I think guest blogging is a great thing. Admittedly, we don't really do it. We've done, I did do a little bit of that in the beginning as far as, just trying to do a little bit of relationship building or, / guest blogging. And so I think that's definitely a great thing. It should be in your toolbox. for a lot of reasons, not just because, hey, I got a link, but you're networking and you're building relationships. And so, yes, I'm a believer in guest blogging, absolutely.
Okay. Any other links besides the links that you're getting through your blog content and your content strategy?
Yeah, I would say another thing that I would suggest to a small business owner is video. I'm a big proponent of video, and video it's only going to, it's obviously, most people know that, it's huge, and it's only getting bigger. I think YouTube is number 3 behind Facebook and Google.
So building links by creating videos, but I mean, each video you post to YouTube is still getting a link from YouTube back to your website. Or you would use YouTube to deep link into your specific pages.
Well, YouTube is, a link on YouTube is no follow. And so I wouldn't do it because I'm going to get a link from YouTube, because the link's no follow anyway, which, we won't get into whether that can have a positive effect or not.
I think you get one do follow link from your YouTube profile.
Okay, yeah, maybe in your profile. Yeah.
So the strategy around YouTube link building is to get comments from other high page rank YouTube profiles to your one profile, which then powers, all those links back to your site. But that's also kind of spammy and really time consuming.
Well, my main reason for mentioning it is it's exposure. If you create something that is of value to people, because it's informational and it teaches them something that they, it answers a question that they were looking to get answered, or because it's entertaining or what have you, it's going to get exposure. And of course, YouTube makes it very simple for people to download the videos. And so if it's something of value, then people ultimately will download it and put it on their websites. And so you can then get mentions, citations / backlinks from third-party sites that have grabbed your video from YouTube and put it on their site. And so, it can be a source of traffic for you because people watch this video on the third-party site, and or B, you can get a backlink out of it too. So in general, it's just about getting the exposure, which can result in both traffic and or backlinks.
So it sounds like you guys rely pretty heavily on your content strategy via your blog.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
And I see a lot of green e-commerce sites that, they're selling stuff, through their e-commerce site, and they also have a blog too, but I noticed that they often don't really leverage their blog in a way that supports their SEO keyword strategy. So what the blog has become is yet another time suck where they're blogging about green living, but they're not actually creating SEO optimized blog posts, around particular keywords, which they then link back to their product page. So I'm curious to know, how you guys leverage the power of your blog.
I totally agree with what you just said. And for starters, I would advise that they just need to learn, especially if they're somebody who's kind of a control freak, they got to give that up and let go and just resign themselves to paying somebody to produce content for them. Because as a business owner or even as a manager of a small business where you're contributing to the online presence, it is not a good use of your time to spend 45 minutes or an hour writing a 500 or 600 word blog post. And there's exceptions to that. If you're marketing yourself, that's different. If your product is yourself, which for a lot of online presences, blogs, people are marketing themselves for one reason or another, and that's different. But if you're selling a product, then ultimately it's not a good use of your time to spend time writing your content. So we have a couple writers that we pay that produce blog posts for us. I can't remember now. We're doing my sister handles that relationship with our writers, and that it's three or four posts a week, every week religiously, and we've been doing that for a few years. So I think we've got about 300 blog posts now that we've accumulated over the last few years. And it's not Pulitzer Prize winning stuff, but they are competent writers. It's pretty well written, and the topics vary. Something like our little narrow niche of bamboo textiles, you can't write 300 blog posts about bamboo textiles.
You're going to run out of ideas at a certain point.
People don't want to read that crap, and they're not going to come back. They're not going to come back to read a post about bamboo sheets because the post that they read about bamboo clothing the week before was just so compelling. So
what do you write about?
Well, that's the great thing is you don't have to write about your product. And it's very easy to take a topic and write a nice 500 or 600 word post. And at some point in there in one of your paragraphs, you can bridge over and tie it in to your product. And of course, that is where you want to put your keyword, the appropriate keyword, because you've spent many, many hours doing much research on your keywords, which is of paramount importance in the beginning, and that is something you don't want to outsource. That's something the business owner needs to educate themselves on keyword research, and they need to build their keyword Bible, so to speak. Even for my little narrow niche, I have several hundred keywords that I deem targeted traffic, people that are searching these keywords. In any case, sorry, I'm getting off topic.
I love this conversation. I can talk on and on about internet marketing, but I want to make use of our last few minutes to address the whole art of drop shipping, especially for some of those people out there who are aspiring entrepreneurs. They want to start a green home-based business, and they're looking into e-commerce and like getting into selling sustainable products. So I was wondering if you might be able to help us, with the experience that you had and, knowing like the mistakes you made along the way and what you do differently, like how would you advise an aspiring entrepreneur looking to start an eco home-based internet business, how to get into a drop shipping e-commerce store line of work? Yes.
Sure. Well, it was a pretty arduous task. Once we decided on our product, then, of course, the next step was, okay, we're going to find any and every supplier that either manufactures it themselves or buys directly from the factory. We're going to find everyone that we can find, and then we're going to start evaluating them. And we're ultimately going to make a decision in the end on which company we think will be best. And, of course, there's a lot of things that you have to factor in when you're evaluating the companies.
Like what? What are your evaluation criteria?
When you have a drop ship model, the thing is you're handling your customer service. The customer is actually, they're purchasing the product on your website as opposed to an affiliate website, where you're simply sending traffic to another site. So with a dropship model, you're handling the relationship with the customer is yours. You're responsible for that. And so the last thing that you want is to have a supplier that, because you're dependent on them, this is not a wholesale business, so you're not shipping the product out yourself. You're dependent on that supplier to have the products in stock that you're selling and to not run out, and you're depending on them to ship the order to the customer in a timely manner, and you're depending on them not to screw it up and send the wrong order or get the address wrong or, all these types of things that can go wrong, when you're dealing with fulfilling customer orders.
But how do you know? How do you know if that supplier is going to, be fully stocked or is going to run out or, whether they're, going to completely ignore, drop out of sight, with communications with you as their customer?
Yes. Well, what you do is number one, you have to use your instincts as a business person. Number two, you have to use your instincts with regard to, your ability to assess people. And the way that you do that is by opening up a dialogue with these candidates, your short list that you've narrowed it down to, and you start a dialogue with them. Hey, I'm Joe Blow, and we are starting up this website, and we are going to carry this XYZ product that I see that you sell, and obviously you have to first ascertain whether or not they actually offer drop shipping, because not all companies that sell products, that manufacture them or are out there wholesaling, not all wholesalers offer drop ship. So you have to establish that first. But once you establish that, then you have to communicate with these companies and try to get a sense for whether they're going to be efficient with things in general. And so, I found that just through a half a dozen emails back and forth with a company or with an individual, once I got to talking to somebody, I could get a sense. Were they timely in their email responses to me? Did it look like they just sent me a canned response, or did they really read what I wrote to them, and did they really address my questions? And you start to get a sense for how they might be overall as a company, as far as, whether they're going to be efficient or not in these important things with regard to getting customers their orders, making sure things are right, communicating with you when you have problems or questions and that type of thing. And so you get a sense for that when you communicate with people back and forth. And so that's one important thing. And then, I also looked at how big is this company? How big is this site? How long have they been in business? We have these great tools where we can see approximately how much traffic a website is getting. If company A, I can see that they've been in business for 3 years, but their website is not getting any traffic to speak of. And company B, they've been in business for 3 years, but I can see that their website's getting, approximately 10,000 visitors a month or what have you. Then that's one thing that I factor in. Hey, okay, they're probably a little more substantial. They've built their website out. They're getting traffic. You can look at how they're ranking in the search engines for the queries and that you're interested in for that product and that type of thing. And so some of it's business instincts and some of it's just trying to get a sense for how big the company is and whether they're going to be good to work with or not.
Do you have a short list of evaluation criteria? So you mentioned traffic is one. Response time is another.
Yeah, let's see. Traffic, response time, the site itself. What does the site look like? Does it look like they paid Joey, the next door neighbor, to design it? Or is it very professional? Their copy, is it well written, or is it, you can, people know from traversing the internet and buying things and participating in forums and all kinds of things. People know, when you land on the websites that are just maybe a little bit sleazy or just maybe not the most professional, and you start to get a sense for that. And so I look for that company that just looks professional. All the various things about the website look professional. There's so many things you can do. You can run a Google search and find citations out there where they're talked about on third-party sites, on other sites, and see what people are saying about them.
Oh, a really good search to do, company name sucks. And then if you start seeing a lot of results with that company name sucks in it, then you know to avoid them like the plague.
Right. Yeah, and there's I make use of Google every day. There's just all kinds of search queries that I do that help me to evaluate things, help me to evaluate websites and tell me information about them. And
so you researched your suppliers individually, and you chose not to go through like a database of one of those companies that has a database of companies that drop ship.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that myself. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I'm sure that there's some instances where maybe that would be the smart play. But for me, for starter, it's hard to market a website nowadays. There's so many, it's competitive. And so the last thing you want to do is, you don't want to open up a website and say, hey, I'm going to sell 24 different unrelated products. You need to find a niche, and you need to focus on, it doesn't have to be one product, but, they should be tightly related. So to me, I'm not a proponent of those databases, where you have access to all these different products that can be drop shipped for you. You need to find something that is interesting to you, a product that you believe in, or something that you're knowledgeable about, and focus on that, and then find a competent company that has a drop ship program and work with them directly.
Okay, so you identify your supplier, then what? How do you negotiate with the arrangement, the dropship arrangement, and how do you make sure that the orders through your website are tracked and that you're getting whatever percentage you're owed?
Since it's a dropship, you don't have to worry about tracking. I mean, with regard to obviously you have to be on top of your debits and credits and what the company is charging you. But essentially, the customer comes in, they buy the item on your site, and so that credit card gets processed, and then when you run your batch run with your merchant account, that money goes directly into your business bank account, and then the drop shipper, they ship that order out to the customer, and they charge you whatever the predetermined pricing is for that product or products. So up front, there's really not a lot of negotiating you can do, because you're not negotiating from any sort of position of strength at all, because they don't know you, and people start up websites all the time, and then a few months later or a year later, it's shut down. And so I think these companies pretty well just expect that a large percentage of the people that come to them that are starting up a website are not going to be real successful, and so you really don't have much of a position of strength to be trying to negotiate pricing or hey, we want net 30, that type of thing. So we had to pretty much accept whatever their terms were in the beginning, but over time they saw that we came to, I think they probably have 100 drop shippers or so roughly, and I know we're their number one drop shipper because I know that we outrank we outrank not just the other drop shippers, but we outrank the suppliers too for the majority of the keywords that we're interested in.
Good job.
So they see that, and then you start doing and the sales are there. They can see that you're in year 2 and you're doing into the 6 figures a year in sales with them, and so now you're somewhat of a substantial player, and then you can try to negotiate pricing and terms and that type of thing. And there's little things to negotiate too, with regard to how the orders go out and just different things. But
so when you first approached them, did you already have a website to show them that you were serious, or did you have nothing?
When we first approached them, we didn't have. Well, we had registered the domain, and I think my sister had put something together, but you really can't have any kind of a real website because you don't even have your product yet, because the products that we would get from them are not going to be identical to the products that we would get from supplier B if we were to go with supplier B. And so it wasn't like we could actually have product pages with copy and pricing, so we put something together, but I think it was just a few pages. But we really worked hard to sell them on us, because they had a bit of a process where they didn't just take anybody who called and accept them as a drop ship customer. We had to sell them the fact that we were very serious, that we had a skill set to design the site in a professional manner, that we had the skill set to market the website, and so we sold ourselves to them to help forge the relationship, have them accept us and be willing to do the business with us and that type of thing.
Okay, great. So you identified your principal supplier or suppliers. You now start building out the website. Then what?
Well, then it was just a process the biggest hurdle up front was getting all of the SKUs and everything entered into the software system, the shopping cart. And, once we got that done, then we just worked on setting up a blog and all that, the other stuff.
And then marketing the hell out of your site.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Cool.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We're just about at the end of the segment. I do want to ask you, you mentioned your list of software that you use. So if you would end this call with some software or application picks for aspiring eco-entrepreneurs or even existing eco-entrepreneurs, that would be fabulous.
Okay. Market Samurai is a software that I like to use. It's robust, it's got a lot of features, but it's generally what people would term as a SEO type software. There's Link Assistant. I think it's link-assistant.com. They have several softwares. I use their Rank Tracker is their main software that I use from them. I have some other little custom things that I've had written that I use, and I have other things, but they're really more specific to what I do. Those are the Market Samurai and the Rank Tracker are the two main ones that I would recommend. It's not terribly costly, and so for SEO purposes, I would recommend that somebody get those.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time. I want to wish you all the best on your e-commerce, internet marketing adventures. I hope that your business grows and that you are able to enjoy the internet business lifestyle, whatever that might be.
Yes. All right.
At 10 hours a week, though, that ain't too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Well, I thank you for having me, Lorna. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye for now.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for hanging out with me until the end of the episode. So, here here's the powerful mindset hack that I want to encourage you to adopt today. I call it the mastermind mindset. Having a mastermind mindset means embracing the value of connecting with a community of like-minded entrepreneurs for support, accountability, and knowledge sharing. Where can you find like-minded entrepreneurs to connect with, especially if you don't live in a locale that is a hub of business innovation? Well, one of the easiest ways to find a mastermind group is to invest in an online program. Now, if you're not constantly investing in programs to educate yourself, develop new skills, and grow your business, then personally, I don't think you're serious about your business. The most successful entrepreneurs invest in mentors. Now, it's easy to come up with a lot of excuses as to why you shouldn't invest in mentorships or in continuous business education. Excuses like, I need to make more money first, or I'm smart enough, I can figure it out on my own, or I don't want to put more money on my credit card, or I'm just too busy. Chances are, if you don't do anything to up-level your business, you will be exactly in the same place a year from now. I'm always investing in my knowledge. I've invested in product launch programs, email list building programs, podcasting courses, copywriting courses, blog promotion products, as well as personalized business coaching. And many of these online courses come with a private forum or private Facebook group where you can connect with other people who are going through the same course as well. And chances are many of these people might be in the same stage of business as you. And there's going to be folks who are ahead and folks who are behind. Even long after I've completed the course, I'm still a permanent member of some of these groups, and there's constantly new members joining. So really, if you don't have a mastermind group right now, even if you are all alone, know that a mastermind group is really only a click of a button away. So go out and find one. Now maybe you already have some entrepreneurs in mind that you want to connect with virtually on a regular basis. Or there might be a few highly motivated individuals you've connected with in a bigger forum community. Even if you have just one accountability partner, you can benefit from this amazing free tool. It's called Google Hangouts, and you can use it to power your own mastermind group. The voice over IP quality is considerably better than Skype, so if you live in a place where the internet is slow, resulting in poor quality Skype calls, places like Bali or Brazil, then try Google Hangouts as an alternative. The great thing about Google Hangouts is that you can record every call and even export the Hangout directly to YouTube. This is instant push-button content creation, folks. Okay, so that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Bye! Thanks, folks, for listening to the Entrepreneurs for a Change podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us reach more people with inspiring stories like this one by giving us a 5-star rating in iTunes. If this podcast inspires you to join the movement of change-making entrepreneurs, we'd love to give you a jumpstart with our free Business Changemakers Toolkit, which you can download at www.entrepreneursforachange.com/join. If you have a changemaker in mind you'd love for us to interview, go to entrepreneursforachange.com/suggest and tell us who and why. Finally, feel free to stop by facebook.com/entrepreneursforachange to share your thoughts and say hello.